Hi, good morning, everyone. Come in, come in, come in. I'm going to wait for some of you to tune in. Good morning, good morning. Say hi if you're in here. Let me know where you are tuning in from. What city, what state, what country are you tuning in from? And if this is your first time, definitely, comment so we can give you a shout out. If this is your first time joining one of my lives, just going to wait for some more people to tune in before I get into the meat of my topic. In the meantime, I am in Orlando, Florida. So I'm Aisha Chidolwe. I'm an immigration attorney. And I represent clients with their family immigration matter in all 50 states in the United States and internationally, as long as you have someone to petition for you in the United States. So your location doesn't matter, regardless of where you are. Good morning, Chandria from Bahamas. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stanley from Nigeria. Good afternoon. Yeah, it's afternoon there in Nigeria. Coco, good morning on Instagram. Good morning, Real Zim. Good morning, all. Thank you so much for joining in. So as I was saying, so I'm an immigration attorney, but I represent clients in all 50 states in the United States or international with their family immigration matter. So your location doesn't matter. We're able to work with clients all over the United States. We have clients probably in every state. My phone number here is 407-995-6567. You can also reach us via WhatsApp, like you can send a message on WhatsApp to 404-333-8751. And if this is your first time tuning in, you're probably going to see me going up and down. I have different cameras where I'm talking to people on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. So sometimes I have to move my face to address who I'm talking to. So to get into my topic today, I want to talk about VAWA petitions and how or if they cover children. So before I get into that, since I know that there's some first timers, let me just quickly explain what a VAWA petition is. So a VAWA petition is basically a petition that allows you here in the United States to get your green card due to abuse. And what I mean by that is if you are married to a U.S. citizen or a green card holder and that spouse is extremely cruel or abusive to you, and you meet certain other requirements, including a good faith marriage, clean criminal record, and you've lived with your spouse, you could qualify to get a 10-year green card. This also applies to children who are under 21 at the time they apply or have a reason why they filed late before they turn 25. If your parents are U.S. citizens or green card holders, and this applies to step parents and parents, and they've been abusive towards you, you can also qualify. The third category of people that can qualify are if you are a parent and your child, 21 years or older, U.S. citizen, has been extremely cruel or abusive to you. So this category of people can generally apply for a green card and get a 10-year green card and be eligible for citizenship, after they've gotten their green card if they meet the requirements. So one of the questions that I get asked all the time is, well, what about, so I'm married and my husband has been abusive to me. What about my children? Can I file for my children? My children don't live in the United States. What options do I have to bring them here? So I am going to break it down into children who live in the United States and children who do not live in the United States so that, you can understand how each person's process works. And again, guys, if you have any questions about anything else, not even necessarily about this topic, definitely ask in the comments. As I'm talking, I can see all the comments. When I finish my topic, I will try to answer a few of them before I jump off. And if you haven't liked us yet, like our page on Facebook, like our page on Instagram, like our page on YouTube, and subscribe to our channel so that you can be notified whenever we go live. So let's talk about children. So if you here in the United States are filing a VAWA petition and you have your children in the United States with you, you can actually submit a simultaneous application for your children. So remember, this is a self-petition. So because it's a self-petition, you do not need the help of your abusive spouse. You are petitioning for yourself. So if your children were not born in the United States and don't have status, you can submit your green card application itself and your work permit and travel permit application itself for your children. You don't need to submit another VAWA I-360 application, because that application, the one application that you submit for yourself, already covers all your children under 21 that are not citizens. So let me explain that again. So when you submit, so with the VAWA application, a lot of times you might be eligible to submit an adjustment of status application as well at the same time. But if you're doing for the children, all you'll be submitting is an adjustment of status application. You're not going to need to submit a new VAWA application, because the one application that you submit for yourself covers your children. And this also covers your children who are outside of the United States. So what do I mean when I say it covers your children outside the United States? So if, let's say you're here in America and, you have like 3 children outside of the United States, they're all 21. They're all under 21. And they've never been to the United States. When you submit an I-360 form, if you meet the bare minimum standards, you will get something we call a prima facie determination letter. And that prima facie determination letter will cover both you and every child of yours, whether in America or whether in Nigeria or whether in Jamaica, whether in Cameroon, whether in Ghana, whether in Mexico, wherever they are. It will cover them, and it will list their names there as derivative beneficiaries. And so, I'm sure some of you are going to be like, well, what does derivative beneficiaries mean? It basically means that they are going to derive whatever benefit that you derive. So if you're approved for VAWA, your children will be approved for VAWA. If you get a prima facie letter, your children also have that prima facie letter. So now, what is the different path for each of them to now get their green card based on, where they are? So for those that are in the United States, because they can also file adjustment of status applications at the same time as you will all get your green card within and around the same time. So once that approval happens, they will move y'all next, to the interview stage, and you will, get your approval for your green card at the same time. Again, you'll get a 10-year green card for VAWA cases. If you were outside of the United States, the first step to approval is we first of all have to, once you get approved for VAWA, they will then, let's say you continue on to your green card interview. For your children outside the United States, we have to apply for something called, I'm trying to think of a simple term. So basically, we're asking them to take action on an approved petition. So we're basically asking USCIS, look, we have this approved petition for these children. Please submit it to the National Visa Center so they can send it to their local country so we can process it for the child. So what happens in that process is they then approve that, send it to the NVC, which is the National Visa Center, and then the National Visa Center, we now have to fill in the child's information in there, prepare their application for their green card, and they will now send it to whatever country that child is in. They will go through their consulate interview or their consular processing, and then they will get their immigrant visa, which converts to a green card once they arrive into the United States. So that is kind of how it works. So for all of you that have been DMing me about this question, the answer is yes. If your children are under 21, whether or not they lived with you and your abuser, if they're not U.S. citizens, they will also derive the same benefits that you derive. So if you get approved for VAWA, your children are going to get approved for VAWA. So that's how that works. Now let me take your questions. I see some on Instagram. Good morning from North Carolina. Shauna says, what if you're engaged? What are your options in getting a work permit? So Shauna, you don't get a work permit from being engaged. You get a work permit from being married and your spouse petitioning for you if they are U.S. citizens, or if you are in status and they are green card holders, because visas are currently active. So basically, in order for you to get a work permit, you have to have a petition that is pending. Something has to qualify you to get a work permit. Like, so you can't just submit an arbitrary work permit application. You have to have a pending petition. So fiancés, like if you're just engaged, like you're a fiance to somebody, you won't get a work permit. That person has to be married to you and file an adjustment of status application. And when they file an adjustment of status application, then you can apply for a work permit, and then you'll get a work permit. Okay. Stanley says, what process will I follow to meet my fiance in the United States? So Stanley, if your fiance is in the United States, your fiance has to be a U.S. citizen. Your fiance has to have seen you at least once in the last 2 years. You have to have documentation and proof of your relationship. If you have all those things and your fiance meets the income requirement, your fiance is going to need to petition for you for the first part of the application here in the United States. And if that petition the petition for fiance gets approved, then it will be sent over to process in your home country to get you your fiance visa. And then once you arrive into the United States, you want to make sure that you and your fiance get married within the next 90 days, within 90 days. You know, if you don't get married within 90 days, you're going to have to start the whole process all over again. And then if you come into the United States and you don't marry that fiance that went through that process for you, you will never be able to get your green card in the United States. You would have to leave the country before you can get your green card through somebody else. So make sure you follow that path very well. Okay. So Christina says, good morning. Please, if you don't use your prima facie determination letter, what will happen? Nothing will happen. There's nothing for you to, there's no requirement that you use it. It's a benefit they're giving you, but it doesn't mean that you have to use it. And for those of you who don't know what a prima facie determination letter is, a prima facie determination letter is basically, a letter that is given to you when you have met the minimum standards of a VAWA petition and when your case could be approvable. It's not a guarantee that they're going to approve your case, or it's not a guarantee that you're not going to get requests for additional evidence, but they are looking at the bare minimum. Does this person meet the bare minimum? Does this person show cohabitation? Does this person show good moral character? Does this person show abuse? Does this person show a good faith marriage? You know, and things like that. So that's, it's why they give you that, but you're not required to do that. Okay. And then you asked again, what's next after the biometrics for the I-360? So the answer will really depend on whether you filed it with an adjustment of status or whether you filed an I-360 alone. And I-360 is the VAWA application. So if you filed it alone, you will have to wait till they make a decision on your case. The way VAWA cases work is that they will actually approve you for a VAWA work permit. So this is different from the work permit that you get when you file an adjustment of status. You get a different work permit that's called a Class C31 work permit. When you receive that, you know that your VAWA case has been approved. It's just weird, but they will generally just send the work permit, and then a couple months later, they will send the official approval. So that is how that works. If you filed an adjustment and so that takes about 2 years to 2.5 years. You know, sometimes if you're super lucky, it can come earlier. Like we have a client, and I talked about this, I think last week, that we submitted her petition in February, and she got approved in August. This is not normal. It's not normal. But the thing is, some people just have some stroke of luck. I don't know, why some people's stuff just gets approved super quick, but that is not normal. The normal time is 2 years to 2.5 years. But if you filed an adjustment of status application along with a work permit and a travel permit at the same time when you filed your VAWA case, after your biometrics, that's what's coming next. Timeline for that usually averages somewhere between 5 months to 8 months, somewhere in that window. I would say our own personal clients majority of them get it around that 5.5 months, 6 months timeline. And, you know, right now they're given 2-year work permits and 2-year travel permits. So that's what will come next. And then once that comes, the next thing hopefully will be some sort of decision. Okay. James Stan says, sorry, I missed your reply. Okay, James, once this live is done, you can rewind and go listen to it again. So Sleek Made on Instagram says, good morning, Aisha. Well, will holding an I-485 application in abeyance invalidate pending I-765, I-131 tied to the I-485 application? So this answer is not a simple answer, Slick, but I will try to say it in a way that maybe you and everybody else can understand. So the first thing is, what is an abeyance? What he's asking. An abeyance essentially means that, you know, you originally filed a marriage-based case. For example, you filed a marriage-based I-485. You and your spouse are having problems. Your spouse has become super abusive towards you, and now you're eligible for VAWA, but you have the other case pending. So what, you know, a lot of times we in the legal world do is we ask them to hold the case in abeyance so we can prepare your, we can submit a VAWA petition for you. And once we submit a VAWA petition for you, we usually will intercept and ask them to grab that I-485 that you initially filed and merge it with your VAWA petition, so that way you're no longer petitioning based on marriage, and you're petitioning based on, you know, your abuse. And what that does for you, if abeyance is granted, is that it saves you from paying a new filing fee. And also, if you already have a work permit, it allows you to continue with the work permit that you already have. So Slick, the answer is, if you already have your work permit approved, it will allow you to continue with the work permit that you already have because your I-485 is still pending. Now, strategically, and this is me personally, every lawyer is different and does everything differently. But for me, it is important to my clients to be able to work, to be able to get their driver's license and to get their social security number. If they've just submitted a case and they have not received their work permit, my strategy is different in how I handle abeyances, because I want my clients to be able to get relief in the quickest way possible. Happy to assist you if, you know, you're having an issue with that. But, you know, strategically, I have different strategies depending on what phase of your application you're in. Let's see. Oye says, good morning, Aisha from Dallas. I got my divorce from Nigeria in 2016. USCIS said my divorce was not in the Lagos judiciary system. I reopened my case with my divorce. It's now in the Lagos judiciary system. They've sent a receipt notice to me. Please, how long does it take to reopen and make a decision? The answer is, I don't know. I don't know. You know, if you filed an I-290, you know, asking for an appeal, you just got to wait. You know, every case is different. It could take a year. It could take 6 months. It could take 2 years. You just have to wait. There's no method or rhyme to reasoning. That's one area that I can't really give a timeline, you know, because it varies based on the case type and everybody else. So you just have to wait, you know, if you filed for an appeal. All right, let's see. What other question? Sadie says, good morning, Aisha. I'm still waiting for my work permit a year later since I applied for VAWA. I got my travel permit in February and my prima facie last September. Made an inquiry about a month ago, but no change. So Sadie, so when you say you got your travel permit, so did you get a paper travel permit? Or did you get a card? Because if you got a card, your card is your work permit and your travel permit. It's the same, one and the same. If you got a paper work permit, like where it has like your picture and it says, you know, this is your work permit, you want to definitely do an inquiry. You know, because I would say that 1 year after submitting okay, you got a paper. Okay, he confirmed he got a paper. So I consider that to be a really long time. Obviously, I don't know if you're working with an attorney. When you're a VAWA applicant, you can't really call on the phone. You're not going to get any relief because they can't do anything for you based on the confidential nature of it. But, when I have clients that have that, we have an attorney hotline that we use. And that's how I get their stuff done, because you're not going to be able to get anything from just calling the 1-800 number, unfortunately. So this is one of those situations where you could potentially slip through the cracks or reach out to an attorney. You could definitely reach out to me, and I could try and see how I can help you via the hotline get that work permit. But I would say a year is a bit long to not have received it, and you should definitely be doing an inquiry. Okay. All right. Any other questions, people? Before I jump off, let's see. Shauna, you're asking how long does the process normally take? Let me see what your original question was. Okay, so are you asking for a marriage-based case or a work permit? Well, because I know your first question was about a work permit, but the answer is that if you're asking generally, if you submit a work permit application with a petition that qualifies you, work permits vary depending on what your category is, what you're submitting your application based on. So if you're submitting your application, i.e. based on a marriage-based claim, based on a VAWA-based claim, I would say most of the time, if it's with an adjustment of status application, it is 5 to 8 months is the timeline. And you could fall anywhere there. Some people are lucky, they get it in 4 months. Some people are lucky, they get it in 3 months. But again, those are the exception, not the rule. And one of the things you guys can do, you guys even ask us all the time to make it easy for yourself. Go on USCIS, type USCIS processing time, type the name of your form in there, and it will tell you right there what the processing time is. And, you can look on your filing receipt on the bottom left. It will tell you what your processing center is, where your service center is, and then check it, and it will tell you what they're processing so that it can take the guesswork out. Because, sometimes, I love y'all, my clients, I love y'all. But sometimes, even though I've given clients, what the timeline is, they still ask me, so it's easy for you to just go on there and literally you will see the information on there, so it's not that, we were holding on to client stuff or we don't want your stuff. Trust me, if I could get all my client stuff approved, I'll be a superstar, right? So, I'm waiting just as much as you guys are, and I will never withhold anything from my clients, meaning if my clients get approved, you're the first person that we're calling to tell you this is what's happening. Now, if I have clients and I see that, okay, it's taking a long time, why is this not here? Sometimes I will just reach out, to USCIS myself just to see what's up. Why is my client stuff not here? You're wasting time, but you can check on USCIS processing times online yourself to know what the timeline is. Dorothy Stewart says, I love you, Aisha. You're very informative. Thank you so much. Nick says, how long after the biometrics does the work permit take to come through? Honestly, Nick, I really don't know. Before I used to say at least give it 8 weeks after your biometrics. But, I just had a client do biometrics like 2 weeks ago, and I just got a notice this morning that the work permit is ready. So it's really, I tell you guys, USCIS is something else. Like, we will give you timelines, but it doesn't really mean that that's what the timeline is going to be. We can only give you an average, but it still could be before, it could still be after. So that's why I always say, don't hold me to what I'm telling you. I'm just telling you what the average is, but I can't really control, USCIS and, what they do. So, but that's the average time. If it's after biometrics, average time, I would say in my own experience, and with my own clients, I can't speak for anybody else. Generally, by 2 months from there, you should have received your work permit. But for some people, it might be earlier. Some people, it might be later. But around that window, is what I've seen in my own experience. Okay, guys. Do you guys have any questions before I get to my work? Let's see. Okay, no more questions. All right, guys, this was fun. I will try and come on live again tomorrow, probably around 9-ish, 9:30. But if you want to know and not miss it, definitely subscribe to my channel. Okay, oh, yeah. I have an announcement. I have 2 updates to give you guys. First update is that starting October 1st, you have to have COVID vaccination. You have to be COVID vaccinated in order to get a green card. In order to do an adjustment of status to get a green card, you must be vaccinated. It's going to now be included as part of the requirements of your medical. So if you are still on the fence, or, you believe in conspiracy theory, blah, 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 blah. If you want your green card, you got to go get vaccinated. Now that's FDA approved, hopefully for those of you who are on the fence, it gives you the push that you need. More importantly, you're not going to get your green card without it. So get it together if you've not done it. Okay. What was my second announcement? I've lost my train of thoughts. But guys, I am almost, I think, at like 8,000 likes on Facebook. So I want you guys to do me a favor. Please share this video. Tell your friends to like my page. So I think we're like 30 away, and maybe I'll even do another giveaway if you guys do that. So share my page, share my live, tell your friends, go follow this lawyer so that I can reach 8,000. Same thing on Instagram. I think I'm almost on 5,000, or is it 4,000? I can't even remember. Guys, share it so that I can get that number. Okay, one more question and I'm outie. Okay, so somebody says, will my VAWA approval cover my kids? Fisaya, did you just tune in? This is what this entire topic has been about. I am going to save this Instagram video. So when I get off, click on it. That's the first thing that I talked about. Okay, guys? All right, if you have any other questions, I will answer them tomorrow. Join us again tomorrow, and I will try to pick up where we left off. Okay? All right, have a good one, guys.